I now invite Mr. Rohit Saran for the fourth vision talk of the day, Consumers as Creators in a Digital Society.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks, Shankar, for having me here. Some of you must be wondering what's a journalist doing in this gathering, because we are usually right at the back, sitting, if not standing, trying to see what people are saying and report next day, now, next hour, or maybe next minute. But when Shankar was discussing this idea with me, and he said, is there something interesting going on in the newsrooms across the country that everybody should be interested in, I thought there may be a few things that you may want to know. I think you know most of these things, but I'm trying to put it in a perspective that you may not have seen. I think there's lots wrong with news media industry, let me say that, and all over the world and in India. But I think what's less appreciated is the fact that you as a reader, as a watcher, as a listener, is driving some of the most foundational changes in our profession, industry, business, whatever you want to call journalism. And I think you're shaping it, you're shaping how it is created, you're shaping how it is distributed. And I think time is not too far from where you will create your own news products. And when I say news products, it's not just your Facebook page or Twitter feed or Instagram reels. You will create a newspaper of your own and a news channel of your own and a radio station of your own. We are very close to it. Jenny talked about AI, and I think AI will play a big role in that. So I hope this works. Okay, so first thing is that for us, most of the news media, our consumers are our direct competitors. And this is happening because everybody is creating news content, and everybody should be able to create news content. Everybody is giving information, opinion. The Prime Minister is on Twitter, and then everybody downwards is on Twitter, and they can say what they want to say, and that's totally right. So no more press conferences with big people, no more long-form interviews, which I can go and claim as exclusive. And I think that's good, that's disruptive. It disrupts in a very creative way. But what is happening is that news media industry, especially in India, but all over the world, mixed recency with relevance. So there's a lot of emphasis on breaking news and what's happening. And I think what democratization of news creation is showing us, and I'll show you in some of the statements that I've made, is breaking that myth that everything that is recent has to be relevant. And I think that's a very positive change which newsrooms have to learn to, because we have over time had a product model and a business model that would die in minutes, if not in hours. There's a breaking news, you invested lakhs and crores of rupees to create a content that dies within an hour. That business model will not go too far because you're not interested in seeing those things anymore for too long. And we can't invest. So this thing between being timely and timeless has a new matrix that we are following. And most people don't understand that actually news media industry, despite the mind space that it acquires, is very tiny as a business. It's, to use Carl Sagan's famous target, it's one tiny speck on the universe of even media industry. So I think a lot of things are happening. And I'll just tell you one thing that has happened because consumers are now our competitors, all of you are my competitors, is a massive democratization. And it used to be said that internet created commoditized content in the largest sense. AI will commoditize above average content, and it should. So therefore, what do newsrooms do? What do these news big brands all over the world have to do in a way where it's this thing? Somebody was telling me, and I have not verified that fact, that between mid-December last year and now, more images have been created with AI tools like Midjourney than they were created 150 years before 2022 December. Now that's the speed. That's what I meant by supply being infinite. Now, of course, if supply is infinite, demand is finite. And when I say demand is finite, your time is finite. And time is the most precious thing. You're not going to pay for something that doesn't meet what you want. So I think that's one big change that you are driving. What ghouls of the word had done, rightly or wrongly, is that they created disproportional loyalty for content than for brand. When you went to Google and searched for an event, you read whatever link came. It didn't have to be India Today, Times of India, Hindustan Times, Deccan Herald, whatever you found. And Google somehow convinced us, sometimes rightly, sometimes wrongly, that what they're putting up is the best. Whether it was best or not is probably not Google's fault also. Or it was what was on your Facebook put. So suddenly you had, it didn't matter as much which brand you represented, just mattered what showed up. And now AI will show some of it. AI will show you big articles. So this is another challenge which through Google, all of which got created. And I think that content democratization is so fast and so good. And Shankar was talking about India being a, and Devjani also talked about nation of young technophiles. Adil has just warned us that maybe 100% of Indians will have smartphones, more powerful than iPhone 6. So then this trend is only going to accelerate and democratize further. I mean, Sam Altman was recently, when he's in India, he said the speed of technology can be measured by the fact that between iPhone 1 and iPhone 14 will just be a gap of 1 year or less. So that's how things are going to move. So that's sort of something, the next thing that's happening. And what it did to us is, you know, we think some of us are like, I believe we are in a Tom Sawyer moment where social media companies are just basically sitting and having the apple, where the news media is actually painting the wall. Basically, we are the content creators, or we believe we are the big content creators, but most of the audience and the business is with social media companies. So suddenly you are in a world where you could be creating the best content, but you are so small in the value chain and attention chain that you cannot turn the tide again, unless of course, and I'll talk about in just a few moments, a couple of things that we are trying to do. So therefore you are in a situation where having more customers don't mean more revenue or more profit. So I'll just talk about a couple of things that is going to happen. I'll just run through it so that so this is, some of you must be aware of Kevin Kelly, that is technology journalist. He had a 6-verb framework of how the content and many other things in the world are going to move. It actually applies to news media and maybe to other industries. Sorry. Did I go too fast? Is there a way to go back? Okay, yeah, sorry. So basically, almost 100% of the news consumption is on a screen. Newspaper and channels don't matter. Obviously, screens interact. Sharing is free and paid both. Everything is on a flow. So there's no stock, because if you read a news, you can continue with the flow and get the context, get the graphics, get the video. So everything is on a flow. And access is more important than ownership. And this is fundamentally changing as to how you create content and how you sell your content. Nobody's interested in downloading full books, or books actually probably, but newspapers and channels. You just want to access whatever you wanted at the time you wanted. And that fundamentally changes how you create and how you... So, but what is good in all this? I think there are 2-3 very good things, that if you are a content creator, you can go from the language you know best and express best to every single language. This is the AI, power of AI that's coming. You can go text to multiple text. You can go text to multiple audio and video. You need not be text or video or audio, it will be all media. Your readership will be infinite, and hopefully the revenue will also be much more. This is just, actually I can skip it. This is, so when a product changes, people have to change, right? So sorry. Earlier in a typical newsroom, and this is in many other industries, there used to be a reporter, a writer, a thinker, a designer, a headline giver, and so on and so forth. Now everything has to happen with one. This is the journalism version of full stack, by the way. And this is, I'll just end here, is that just not because this is the company that I work for is doing, we introduced something very small AI-powered, which was our first AI-powered news anchor called Sana. This is very, very early start, and I'm sure other companies will do. So basically, Sana can come on the screen and read news for you. We've just last month launched 6 of these in 6 different languages, but this is just the beginning. Very soon, you will have, in a news environment, you choose the language, the news reader, the tone of the language, business news will be led by this the news will be read by that, this will be the audio, it will be the video. That's the level of customization, and I believe is going to be very good. Whether I feel more worried about the business model for newsrooms than for journalistic skills and the future of journalism. And I think for you, the options are going to increase infinitely. What will it do to the society and political discourse? Let's not predict. Let's see what it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohit, for expanding our perspectives on the emerging directions in the realm of content creation.